Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Elden Ring and it's another weapon guide. So we're going to be doing the top 4 best Greatbows. And yes, before everyone says anything, I understand there are only 4, but again, we're sticking with the same naming conventions as we do throughout the entire series. And most importantly, I am going to show you how they rank and where to get all of them. So let's just dive on in and start off with number 4, the Greatbow, which you can see I'm wielding here. And just a cursory glance will tell you it is a very, very large weapon that an average person would almost certainly not be able to use, just given the girth of this bad boy. Even the weight of it would be something that would be restrictive for most people. But anyway, pretty cool looking. As far as the attributes required to use this one, strength of 20 and dexterity of 20, so not exactly a beginner's weapon, but not ridiculously high. Attribute scaling is going to be D for both dexterity and strength. For our attack power, we're going to have a physical of 306 plus 231, and then our range is going to be 50, so the great bows are going to be pretty similar in range to the standard bows, but they are quite a bit more powerful. This one, the Greatbow, can be upgraded with Ashes of War, so you can upgrade it to do additional types of damage or whatever, you know, use whatever Ashes of War that you like using on bows. And this one has the through and through special attack. And so the through and through special attack is a powerful archery skill using a Greatbow held in an oblique stance. Ready the Greatbow, then twist the bowstring to fire a mighty great arrow that can penetrate through enemies. So it's going to be another type of supercharged attack. So you're going to go into your stance, and then it basically just does your mighty shot, but does considerably more damage. So it's just a really powerful charged attack, which is going to be pretty common for Greatbow type weapons. So as far as where to get this one goes, this one has a chance to drop from Radahn Knights in Fort Gale. So if you're trying to grind it out and haven't left the Caelid region, then right over here at Fort Gale, you'll come up against Radahn archers, or I should say Radahn Knights, that will be wielding this weapon. And so anytime you find an enemy that's wielding the Greatbow, there is a chance that they'll drop it, and this is a great location for some that will early game. But if you've made it to the Altus Plateau region, there is a set location where you can just find one. So you can see I'm up here by the highway lookout tower. The closest fast travel points, the sites of grace being the Windmill Village and then the Hermit Merchant Shack up here. Either way, you come over to the highway lookout tower, and after clearing the area of some decently low level guards and knights, you just come over here, you run up this broken section of the wall here on the lookout tower, and you're going to climb up some ladders. Once you've made it to the top of the ladders, there'll be 2 enemies up here, and once you've killed them, you open up this chest here, and you search it, and you'll get a great bow, some great arrows, and some more great arrows. So that was anticlimactic, but it is a set location where you can get this weapon. So if you want the Greatbow, just come here. Like I said, right here on the map, Highway Lookout Tower in the Altus Plateau region. So that's number 4. Let's move on to number 3. And so at number 3, we have the Erdtree Greatbow, and as you can see, this one is kind of just a much larger version of the Erdtree bow that we showed in our regular bows video. It's going to be asymmetrical, and this one actually just kind of looks like you took a section of the Erdtree root and cut it and made a bow out of it. So pretty cool look, and I guess for roleplay's sake, if you wanted to do like an Erdtree knight who had a specialty in archery, this would be great for that. As for attributes required to use this one, strength of 20, dexterity of 14, and faith of 14. And then for our scaling, we have a D rating for strength and D for both dexterity and faith as well, so pretty good. Then for our attack power, it's going to be split between physical and holy, giving you, a pretty solid combo there. This one cannot be upgraded using Ashes of War, so that kind of sucks, but it does have the through and through special attack, so once again, we're just going to have a very powerful charged shot as the special attack for this bow. Honestly, like I said, this one stat-wise is really great, and appearance-wise, it works really well with an Erdtree Knight type of playstyle, so I can see how a lot of people would really like this one, and if you're going to, I would pair it with the great golden arrows because they just seem to go the best with it. So yeah, as far as that all goes, solid combination for a solid bow. And just to show you our special attack, again, you just go into your stance, charge it up, and it pulls back for a really powerful charged attack. So now I'm just going to zip through the area to show you how to get this one. It is going to be over here in the Fringe Folk Hero's Grave, which is right down by the beginning here. You do need 2 Stone Sword keys to access this, and it's going to be the reward for a chariot puzzle in here. So you just make your way down to the Stranded Gravesite, Site of Grace, or Graveyard Site of Grace, and then you just follow this path that I'm about to do. Alright, and so if you follow that path, you should come up here. There will be a spectral knight kind of enemy up here that you have to kill, but he's not too terribly difficult to deal with. I just went through and did it all beforehand so I wouldn't screw up my route. So basically, you can see that the chariot goes down below here, and he'll go back and forth as long as you're standing here. And you can see that there's those 3 pots hanging from the ceiling. All you have to do is shoot one of those pots so it drops on the chariot. And you could do it in either direction, but it's not too terribly easy. One thing that's important to remember is that you do have to shoot the string, not the pot itself. And depending on the weapon you're using, that may take a certain amount of time, so it's hard to time it. On the wiki, it says using the longbow, if you use do a count of 1 Mississippi after it makes contact with the wall closest to you, then it seems to work decently well. As you can see, shooting the pot doesn't drop it, so you got to actually shoot the string. Like I said, it's going to depend on the weapon. I just recommend using a ranged weapon with a really, really short draw time, or maybe even a crossbow, something that's going to give you a nice accurate shot that you can time very easily, because that's just going to be what's going to give you the best results here. And so you can see we dropped the second pot on it. I missed with my first pot, but with the second pot I was able to hit it, and then you immediately get the Erdtree Greatbow and some great arrows. So not too terribly difficult once you know how to do it. Just make sure that when you come down here to do this, you have a ranged weapon with you, because it will be essential. So that is number 3, the Erdtree Greatbow. Let's move on to number 2. Alright, and so at number 2 we have the Golem Greatbow, which you can see I'm wielding here. It's just a large stone-looking weapon with a rope for a string, and actually a rope wrapped all up and down the front of it, giving it a pretty cool look. And what appears to be pulleys at the top, it's not, because if you draw on fire, you can tell that the rope doesn't shift at all. It's just for appearances. But it would be cool if it showed the rope like sliding through and loosening, considering that the bow is constructed of stone, so they have to explain some way for it to fire, but they don't. But it still does look pretty dang cool. So as far as stats are concerned, for attributes required, we have a strength of 24, dexterity of 10, so nothing too ridiculous there considering you're using a giant stone bow. Then for our attribute scaling, you have dexterity rating of D and strength of C, so pretty great, honestly, not bad. This one is going to be all physical attack, so no split there, and it does have pretty high damage, which, you know, makes sense considering it's the weapon that golems use. This one can also not be upgraded in any way using Ashes of War, so that is really unfortunate, but it does have the through and through attack, so once again, you're going to be able to do nice big, charged, powerful shots, and if you're using a great bow, it makes sense that you're probably going to want to go for those big, powerful shots anyway. So, stat-wise, not too bad, honestly a pretty solid bow. As far as getting this weapon goes, it is unfortunately a random drop, and so this weapon is dropped by the golem-type enemies that are wielding this bow. So you can see I'm up by the Grand Lift of Dectus and the Altus Plateau. There's one right here, and it's very close to the Site of Grace, which is why I like using this spot to grind it out. But basically, any golem anywhere on the map that wields the bow has just as good of a chance of dropping it, and so it's really going to come down to, I guess, your skill level or progression in the game for where you want to go get this one. As far as fighting the golems go, I don't generally recommend using the golem bow, but you know, it depends what you like to do. I like to stay mounted on horseback. You can see I'm up here by the Grand Lift of Dectus. But if you stay on horseback, you can kind of keep a distance. But early game, the best spot's going to be over here by Stormvale Castle, because up on this bridge, there are actually, I think, 3 golems, and they're early game ones, so they deal less damage, and they have less hit points, so they're a little bit easier to grind out. So if you're trying to grind it out for the bow, arguably, I could say that this location is probably a better location, just because they're nice and easy. But yeah, so basically, you're just going to want to make sure you have a nice high arcane level, or you're using trinkets to increase the drop rate, and just keep killing the golems that drop this type of bow until you get it. Unfortunately, that's really the only way to get this weapon. I wish there was a set location, but there doesn't seem to be. So that is number 2, the Golem Greatbow. Let's move on to number 1. Alright, and so finally at number 1, we have the Lion Greatbow, which, as you can see, is a pretty cool looking weapon. Arguably the coolest out of all the Greatbows, just because, you know, A, there's not a lot of competition, and B, this one looks really cool. It's got the nice, smooth, dark black finish with all the gold accents and trimmings. It does make it look very, very fancy, as well as being, you know, ridiculously oversized and probably more powerful because of its size. So for attributes required to use this one, it's going to be strength of 22, dexterity of 18, so decent requirements there. And for our scaling, we're going to have a D rating in both strength and dexterity. This one again is going to be all physical attack power, and it cannot be upgraded using Ashes of War, and this one has the Radahn's Rain special attack, which is a pretty overpowered special attack. It kind of puts all the rest of the Greatbows to shame just because it can be ridiculously powerful. So yeah, stat-wise, the Lion Greatbow is pretty fantastic. As far as how to get this one goes, it is going to be the reward for the Radahn boss fight. So it's going to be over here in Caelid. You have to make your way up. First, you either need to progress in one way or another through the storyline. I think the easiest way is just to ride the Grand Lift of Dectus up for the first time and then go back down, because that will start the festival. You can also progress far enough into like Ronnie's quest line to trigger it. Either way, you have to do something in the story to trigger it. I just think riding the Grand Lift of Dectus is arguably the easiest way to do it. But once you've done that, you can come down here into Caelid, and from here, at this site of grace, there's a portal, and you'll know that you can start the festival if that portal is active. That portal will take you right here to the inner courtyard area where you can start the festival, and this chain of events will initiate the boss fight with Radahn, the Star Scourge Radahn out here. And once you've defeated Radahn, you can take his remembrance to Enya at the Round Table Hold and trade it in for this bow. So that is how you can get your hands on the Lion Greatbow. And just to demonstrate the special attack, Radahn's Rain, you go into a charge stance and you fire, and it'll rain down the arrows from above. And it should be mentioned that the damage on this bow stacks even better, especially when using the special attack, with Radahn's Spears, which are a ranged ammo type you can purchase from Enya after this boss fight. So, yep, that is all there is to say about the Lion Greatbow. And that will actually conclude our list of the top 4 best Greatbows in the game. Like I said, there are only 4, but this ranked them, and now you know how or where to find them. So I hope you enjoyed this video, hope you found it useful, but we'll see you next time, and have a nice day. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching, and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.